You know we had to do it, folks. Today we are diving into the best and worst team of the week from December 17th to December 23rd. We like to take a look at these once in a while to just go over who's hot, who's not, and generally get a bigger picture as to what teams are also getting the best out of their guys too, because in looking at these charts, it becomes very clear to describe the stories of what teams are doing well and just where exactly their strengths and weaknesses are. But, of course, because I'm a Canucks and a Canadiens fan, this is a very good week to dive into the team of the week. So without further ado, let's get into the graphic. Let's take a look at who's hot, who's not, starting out with the best team of the week from December 17th to December 23rd. Take a look at our first line with a game score of 1044. The best forwards in the league are Philip Forsberg and Sidney Crosby, and William Nylander has the best score overall at a 10.56. On the second line of the team of the week, you've got Brad Marchand, Jake Evans, and Kirill Marchenko. Third line, you've got Tyson Forrester, Mark Scheifele, and Kyle Connor. And then on the fourth line, you've got Yoel Armia, Elias Lindholm, and Jonathan Marchessault. What this says to me is that some of the duos have actually been starting to get things going in a very positive way. You've got Lindholm and Marchand, Forsberg and Marchessault, Evans and Armia, not to mention Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. These guys have all been a part of teams who have been getting stellar play out of these guys, and it's so much to the point that they happen to be better than all the other forwards in the league the past week. Honestly, because Crosby is the number one center up here, I am kind of surprised that neither Rickard Rakell nor Brian Rust have themselves a spot on this list as well. Obviously, I'm not going to disagree with putting Yoel Armia and Jake Evans there. Evans especially has been so good the past little while, and when you dive into everything that he's been capable of doing with the Montreal Canadiens, this guy's looking almost like a miniature version of Philippe Deneau. Look at this, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in his last 6 games as a middle to bottom 6 center, and he's been so clutch, so reliable. Whenever you need a goal, whenever you need a big play, Jake Evans is going out there and doing something, even though he might not necessarily have the point production as a Suzuki or a Caulfield this season. There's a reason why this guy's being labeled as one of the better players of the week, and it becomes a lot more interesting when you acknowledge that he is on an expiring contract. It expires at the end of the season, making $1.7 million a year. So will the Canadiens be able to bring Evans back? Who really knows? What kind of play would they be expecting out of him as well? He had a really good week this previous week, but how far does that take him into next week and beyond? Yoel Armia is also doing pretty well. He had a strong week too, not to mention, as we had mentioned, the duos here. The guys that aren't duos, though, have also been very strong. Tyson Forrester had a week, Sidney Crosby, him, Rust, Rakell have all been stellar, and then William Nylander is arguably the most exciting forward in the league this season. I'd say him and Kaprizov are right up there, but of course Kaprizov isn't on this list. Scheifele and Connor, especially with the crazy game that they had yesterday. And then you had yourselves Kirill Marchenko, whom, as we had seen in yesterday's Columbus-Montreal game, is so clutch himself. He is such a good player. First-line caliber guy in Columbus. But this is just the forwards, of course. If we go over to the D-men, you'll see a lot more interesting names bringing themselves up here, because the best 6 defensemen in the NHL this week were Quinn Hughes, Luke Hughes, Rasmus Dahlin, Dylan DeMello, Josh Morrissey, and Noah Hanifin. And of course, headlined by the top 2 guys, Quinn Hughes and Luke Hughes have both been stellar. Quinn especially has been, I think, the top point scoring guy, tied with, I think it's Kyle Connor going back a few weeks. He's one of the most productive players in the entire gosh darn league, and he happens to be a defenseman. Yeah, that's right, that young lad's a defenseman. He's up to 42 points in 34 games played, on pace for over 100 points as a defenseman. Could he do it? Could he do the Erik Karlsson? Could he pull it off? Could he win the Norris Trophy once again? Could he get himself even the Hart? We had talked about this in the video earlier this morning as well, but Quinn Hughes, I think, is the most valuable player on a team in the entire NHL. Like, you take a look at some of the other teams, if you remove Cale Makar from Colorado, they'll still be okay. They've got McKinnon, they've got Rantanen, they've got a lot of good guys doing their thing. If you remove Kaprizov from Minnesota, that team is still capable of doing some damage, maybe not as much, definitely, but if you remove Quinn Hughes from Vancouver, ultimately the Canucks look like a mess. And Quinn Hughes has been so good. You take a look at the point production recently, he's got 8 points in his last 5, 13 points in his last 10. And all the multi-point games too. 2 points against Florida, 2 points against Utah, 3 against Ottawa, 2 against San Jose. He has been everywhere, and he has been one of the best gosh darn players in the league as a result. Not to mention his brother Luke, who has been on a very good Devils team as well. The Devils have been starting to string together wins. Luke has been producing as well. 9 points in his last 10, 6 points in his last 5. It helps when Jack Hughes and Hischier and Broad are all scoring a whole bunch of goals every night, but still, on this recent winning streak for New Jersey, Luke Hughes has been coming alive, and he's been playing minutes too. 26 minutes against the Blue Jackets, 21 against the St. Louis Blues, 20 against the New York Rangers, all while producing points in the meantime. This team of Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes together has been stellar, and Luke has definitely been coming into his own as of late. Rasmus Dahlin set the record yesterday for, I think, the highest game score of the season with his 4-assist night against the New York Islanders. Absolute domination over there. Part of the reason why I think that he is only in the 3rd overall spot, actually 4th overall, because Dylan DeMello has a higher score than him. 4th overall spot for a defenseman this previous week is because Dahlin has only played a few games. Like, he was injured for a good chunk of the past little while here, and he came back. He missed the back-to-back because the Buffalo Sabres did not want to supercharge overplay him right away. But this one game against the Islanders, 4 points, 4 assists in 23 minutes time on ice, he absolutely shined, and this season Dahlin has 23 points in 27 games played, on pace for 63 points in a 74-game clip. Obviously, everybody in Buffalo isn't really doing all too well this season. A lot of guys have started to decline in terms of their point production, and the team was losing so many games. So the reemergence of Rasmus Dahlin on that blue line, especially a healthy Dahlin who's able to do what he's been able to do, yeah, no wonder he is one of the best defensemen of the week in the past week's worth of NHL play. You go over to the other guys, I mean, Dylan DeMello, Josh Morrissey, that D-core in Winnipeg has been pretty strong. Neil Pionk has also been standing out as well. Noah Hanifin, he's been pretty good, scored a really nice goal against the Vancouver Canucks the other night. In net, you've got Igor Shesterkin and Jacob Markstrom. Now, Markstrom, honestly, I feel like he's only here because of the team that he plays on, because the fact is, he has had 2 shutouts recently that were 12-save shutouts, and that's kind of the thing where it's like, yeah, absolutely elite caliber goaltending will probably get you a shutout in 2 games in a row where you've got 12 shots against, but at the same time, it's like you're playing on such a strong team like New Jersey that is able to control the play and take things over. Look at that, straight up. Against Pittsburgh, 12 shots against, he made 12 saves. Against New York, 12 shots against, he made 12 saves. I don't want to dismiss the other body of work that Jacob Markstrom has had outside of these 2 games, but he's been a part of a very dominant New Jersey Devils team that has been really helping him out in the best way possible. So seeing him getting the best save percentage, or I guess the 2nd best game score, maybe the best save percentage out of these goaltenders in the past week, certainly is not surprising. When you think about Igor Shesterkin, though, 9.24 game score, he is the best goaltender of the week. This becomes a lot more crazier when you acknowledge that there are so many Rangers on the worst team of the week. Riley Smith, Alexis Lafreniere, Brett Berard, Philip Cheadle, these guys have all been terrible, and this is all on a really bad team that has started to get onto this bad losing streak. Igor, on the other hand, is still the best goalie in the league. So New York has been putting themselves in a terrible spot lately. They just scratched Chris Kreider. We had already spoken about this. Could we see a trade coming soon? Who really knows? But you'll see a lot of guys in New York and Seattle on the worst team of the week. Montour, Larson, Dunn, all on the worst defenseman list. You've got Jared McCann, Chandler Stevenson, Andrei Burakovsky. Yeah, the Rangers and the Kraken are down bad. This is really not great. Zach Aston Reese and JVR as well on Columbus, and Matvei Mishkov was the 2nd worst forward in the NHL the past week, which is so unfortunate. He was like a -4 the other night too, so I guess that makes sense when you put everything together. Ultimately, though, seeing Martin Necas on this list as well, not surprising. I have him on all of my fantasy teams, and he has been dog water the past week and a bit. The guy just forgot how to play hockey. He's not scoring any more points. He's not getting any more production. I'm guessing the teams are really starting to shut down on him because he was one of the top point producers in the league to start out the season. So we've got to take a look as to whether or not that cold streak is going to continue for Martin Necas. For now, though, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these guys making the best team of the week. Quinn Hughes, Luke Hughes, Dahlin. You've got yourselves Jake Evans up in there as well. What are your thoughts about Crosby, Ricard, Raquel, everybody else too? And what are your thoughts about the worst team of the week going out there with a lot of Kraken and Rangers players? It's all going to be in the description. I'll leave a link to this Reddit post itself. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.